Your wife is not leaving because you stopped loving her. She's leaving because she stopped feeling you. You are in the same house, sleeping in the same bed, sharing the same surname, but you became strangers. And the painful truth is, most men never see it coming. Not because they stopped caring, but because they were too busy providing to notice that they had stopped connecting. Brother, don't skip this video because what I'm about to share with you could be the most important conversation about your marriage you will ever have. I want to talk about what is destroying more Christian marriages than affairs, financial problems, or arguments ever will. It is called emotional unavailability. And it's a slow, silent killer in marriages. And before you realize what has happened, your wife has already grieved the marriage and emotionally checked out. Today, we are going to look at what it is, why it happens to good men, what the Bible says about it, and how to turn it around before it is too late. Let me paint you a picture. Imagine you came home after a long day. You are exhausted. You sit down, you eat. Maybe you scroll your phone, watch something, go to bed. Your wife tries to talk to you, but you give one word answers. She asks, "How are you?" You say, "Fine." She wants to connect, you want silent. This happens Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, every week, every month. And slowly, this is what happens. Your wife stops trying, not because she no longer feel you or wants you, but because she no longer believes you are there. That is emotional unavailability. It's not cheating. It's not shouting. It's not obvious. It's simply absence while being physically present. And this is one of the leading reasons most Christian women says they feel alone inside their marriages. Here's what makes it so hard to address. It does not happen to bad husbands. It mostly happens to the good ones. Men who are hardworking, men who are trying to provide, men who genuinely love their families. And here's what nobody tells you about pressure. When a man carries a sustained stress without releasing it emotionally or spiritually, their nervous system does something automatic. It shuts down emotionally, not physically. Psychologists call it emotional numbing. The brain begins to suppress feelings as a coping mechanism for overload. And the cruel irony is this: the very thing driving you to work harder, provide more, to sacrifice more, is the same thing slowly making you emotionally unreachable for the people you're working hard for. Many men are financially available and emotionally absent, and their families are starving for the part of them that money cannot buy. This is not just a psychological problem, it is a spiritual one. Ephesians chapter 5, verse 25 says, "Husband, love your wife just as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her." How did Christ love the church? He was present. He was attentive. He noticed people others ignored. He sat down with people in their pain. He wept with those who wept. Christ was emotionally engaged. So when God calls a husband to love his wife as Christ loved the church, he's calling the husband to show up emotionally, spiritually, consistently. And Colossians chapter 3, verse 19 also adds, "Husband, love your wives and do not be harsh with them." Harshness is not only shouting or anger. Harshness could be coldness, silent, dismissiveness, unavailability. When a wife reaches out for the husband emotionally and finds nothing, this is the form of harshness the Bible speaks against. Let me show you how this typically unfolds because most men completely miss it. Year one of your marriage, you were attentive, present, communicating, and laughing together. Then life gets heavier. Work pressure increases, financial stress builds, children arrive, responsibility multiplies, and gradually, without deciding to, you redirect your emotional energy into work and survival. Your wife begins to feel it. She brings it up. You say you are just tired. She accepts it. She brings it up again. You say things will get better when the pressure eases. She waits. Then she brings up the third time. Now you are defensive. She backs off. And one day she stops bringing it up altogether again. Brother, the day your wife stopped bringing it is not the day she accepted the situation will change. It's the day she stopped believing things will change. That silence is not peace. That silence is grief. I want to be very clear here because most men misunderstand this. Your wife is not asking you to be perfect. She is not asking you to have no stress. She's asking for answers. She wants to know what is going on inside you. And she wants you to ask what is going on inside her. She wants to feel like you are with her, not just near her. Proverb 20, verse 5 says, "For the purposes of a person's heart are deep waters, but one who has insight draws them out." A good husband learns to draw his wife's heart out. He creates a space where she feels safe to be known and allow himself to be known in return. That is intimacy. And it does not begin in the bedroom. It begins in conversation, in consistency, and in presence. When last did you really ask your wife how she was doing and actually wait for answer? When last did you share something vulnerable with her? When last did you make her feel like the most important person in the room? These things are not easy. These things are not small. These are the foundation of a marriage that lasts. Here is where it gets serious, and I need you to hear this carefully. When a woman spends years feeling emotionally alone in her marriage, something shifts inside of her. She begins to find emotional connection elsewhere, not necessarily with another man at first. Maybe a friend, a sibling, a counselor, or social media. But emotional gap in a marriage never stay empty for long, and the enemy knows this. Many at first do not begin with attraction. They begin with conversation. Someone who listens, someone who asks questions, someone who makes them feel seen. And the husband, working hard, providing well, has no idea that his emotional absence created the very opening the enemy walks through. 1 Peter chapter 3 verse 7 warns, "Husband, in the same way, be considerate as you live with your wife, treating them with respect so that your prayer will not be hindered." The consequences God attached to neglect in marriage is a hindered prayer. A disconnected marriage affects your spiritual authority. You cannot be the high priest in your home while being emotionally absent from it. The good news is this: it is not too late. Emotional availability is not a personality trait you either have or do not. It is a practice, a daily decision, a discipline. Here's where it starts. First, pray about your marriage specifically, not just general prayers. Targeted one. Lord, show me where I have been absent. Lord, show me what my wife needs from me that I have not been given. Soften my heart and open my eyes. Second, have the honest conversation. Sit down with your wife and say these words: "I know I have not always been present as I should. I want to change. Tell me what you need from me." Then listen. Do not defend yourself. Do not explain yourself. Just listen. Third, create a daily connection rituals. It doesn't have to be too long. 10 minutes of genuine conversation with no phones. A question every evening, such as, "What was the best and the hardest part of your day?" With eye contact, a prayer together before bed. Small things done consistently rebuild trust faster than grand gestures. Lastly, deal with what is making you emotionally unavailable. Is it work stress, unresolved trauma, pride, fear of vulnerability? Whatever it is, take it to God. Consider speaking to a pastor or a counselor. A man who refuses to address his inner life will eventually damage his outer relationship. Maybe you are watching this and thinking, "My wife has already checked out. The damage is done." I want you to hear this. With God, restoration is possible, but it requires humility, consistency, and time. Do not go to your wife with just words. Go with a changed behavior, day after day, week after week, because trust is not rebuilt in a conversation. Trust is rebuilt in a pattern. And Malachi chapter 2 verse 16 shows us how seriously God takes marriage. The Bible says the man who hates and divorces his wife does violence to the one he should protect. God is not passive about marriage. He invested in it and he will give you the grace to fight it. Only if you are willing to humble yourself and do the work. To every man watching this, you are not a bad husband because you got here. You are a human under enormous pressure, doing the best you knew how. But now you know more. And knowing more means you are responsible to do more. Your wife does not need a perfect husband. She needs a present one. A man who prays with her. A man who listens to her. A man who lets her in. Go home today and be that man. Not tomorrow. Not when things are calm. Today. Because the marriage God gave you is worth fighting for. And so is she. If you like this message, drop "I will show up" in the comment and share it with a brother, a friend, or a man who needs to hear this today. Subscribe and join this community. God bless you. Thank you for watching.
Building strong men and making the home a place of peace.